This is Raceway Ministries Today. Thanks for joining us for Raceway Ministries Today. In just a moment, we'll be sharing with you the latest of what's going on in the world of Christian ministry and outreach through the National Fellowship of Raceway Ministries. Well, good morning, folks. This is Roger Marsh with Raceway Ministries Today. We're glad that you're able to join us to hear some important information about what we have going on with Raceway Ministries work, especially since things have developed with Hurricane Helene over the past few days. Raceway Ministries Today, of course, is the podcast platform for the National Fellowship of Raceway Ministries. And as you know, we do ministry at speedways all across the country, telling people about Jesus through our chaplains and our Raceway Ministry teams that are out there at the short tracks and out there at the speedways for NASCAR, IndyCar, and other events. And if you need more information about what we do, you certainly can go to our website, racewayministries.org, or you can follow us on Facebook at Raceway Ministries. But today, I'm very honored to be able to visit with one of our ministry partners over in North Carolina. Greg Berkey is the Director of Auto Racing Outreach, and Greg has been very actively involved with us in Raceway Ministries work over the years. He's been a part of the leadership team heading up Raceway Ministries for a couple of years. Also, he has made many appearances to support us in our Raceway Ministries work at speedways all across the country. But most lately, Greg has been very actively involved in helping with disaster relief and hurricane relief efforts after Hurricane Helene has come up from Florida into the southeastern part of the United States and produced absolute devastation over in western North Carolina. So let me introduce Greg. Greg, good to have you on the podcast with us this morning. We deeply appreciate you and all that you've done for Raceway Ministries in the past, but have a special place in our hearts right now for all of your efforts that you have going on over in western North Carolina. So thank you for taking a little bit of time to talk with us today.
Hey, Roger, it's great to talk with you once again, and appreciate the opportunity here this morning.
Well, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time with the history of who you are. You've been on podcasts with us before, and you're a very familiar name with Raceway Ministries work. So I'd like to get directly into what's going on in western North Carolina and how you've been able to help out through Auto Racing Outreach. Find out a little bit about what's coming up in the way of future opportunities for you to go and help the suffering people out there, and then what our listeners can do to be of support for that. So let me just ask you to give us a review of the past week or so, what you've experienced, what you've seen, what's going on. I know on Facebook you find all kinds of reports about what's going on over in western North Carolina, but I thought you might give us a first-hand account of what you've seen and experienced and what you and Auto Racing Outreach are attempting to do to help out.
Yeah, so we are actually located in western North Carolina. Here in Hickory, we did get hit by the hurricane, but nothing compared to some of our neighbors in the mountains. We actually are in the foothills. And so when it hit, you know, the compassion of God, being the saved saints, starts to flow through you and through believers. And you think that, boy, something needs to be done. We need to be, activated here and helping our brothers and sisters next to us here.
Sure.
So Hickory was, we had damage with trees and with power outages and all that, but we're pretty much online again now.
Good.
We try to help out our church folks, first of all, who are out of power for, 5-6 days. But also during that time, Alan Huffman, which is one of our Raceway Ministries partners, very well, serves on the board.
Sure.
Also, John Abernathy with Raceway Ministries from Bristol Motor Speedway and also at Tri-County Speedway. He took a trip with us yesterday, so John is also actively involved. We've kind of called ourselves the Hickory Gang over the years, and so the Hickory Gang rides again, and so here we are.
Yeah, good.
But so immediately after the hurricane, of course, Friday it hit us, and Saturday you've got the results of all the high water still doing complete devastation over here. So services on Sunday, and so then we began to activate on Monday. So throughout Monday, we started putting the word out, and Al and I began to organize along with John. Okay, so what do we need to do? We've got pickup trucks, we've got trailers, we've got contacts, and so we start, communicating with each other. Where do we need to go? Who needs the help? What do they need?
Right.
And so our first trip that we began to put together, we kind of do this in two stages. What we've learned is that first day we kind of communicate and organize, and along with that is purchase and pack.
Okay.
And then the next day we kind of, the next stage is deploy and deliver.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of what we do and what we've been doing. And so we're in an area where we can get supplies. A lot of the folks from Western North Carolina have been coming to Hickory for fuel, for food, where they cannot get it. And so what we are trying to do is now to take it to the areas that they cannot get out of.
Right.
So that's what we've been concentrating on, and there are many of those still even today, that the roads are completely destroyed. There are no roads. There's no bridges.
Yeah. Now, Greg, what are some of the other isolated communities there that probably will be target areas for you to help?
Yeah, the first one that we went to was Hendersonville a week ago, and the city of Hendersonville, just south of Asheville. And their main concern was power, and they are only about 8 miles away from the park there that got so devastated. So they're right in the midst of it. So Alan, is on the board of Fruitland Baptist Bible College, went to school there. Mm-hmm. And so those folks are right there in a mountain community. And so when we were there last week, they still had no power. They no restrooms, nothing like that. But they're right in the midst of all these mountain communities that people are coming to them. So they have a staging area at their college. And so we supply them with bulk fuel to run their generators. And so we took that in, all their supplies as well. And so while we were there, people are piling in with their cars, just filing through, getting the things that they need. And also the very next day, they were going to take ATVs up into the mountain areas that they could not access with cars.
Right.
So that is still very much a need there. We've also been actively involved with First Baptist Church in Burnsville, North Carolina. Okay. Many of them still do not have power in that area, so we've been delivering generators and fuel, food to them. So they're right in the middle of it as a distribution as well. What's neat about it is that the folks in the church there don't have power in their own homes, but there they are serving in their church, other people in their community.
Wow.
It's amazing to watch.
Sure.
Yesterday, we made a deployment into a small community, Linville. Some of these areas that you're not going to see on Facebook or on social media or anything like that still are devastated. So we go in these small areas, Linville, Spruce Pine, Burnsville. Yesterday we stopped at a Temple Baptist Church that's just in the middle of a crossroads up in a mountain community where there's no town, but the church is there. And so these dear folks have a fellowship hall that they're using for staging. So we dropped in there, met those dear folks. We asked them, so what is your need? So it says, we don't have power, but we're actually housing folks on utility services. Wow. So they're sleeping here, but we're running everything off of generators ourselves. And so these mountain folks around there cannot get out, so they are going up in these communities and taking the supplies up in their surrounding communities. And I don't even know the name of the town.
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah.
It's just out in the middle of nowhere, and these places are everywhere. Yeah. And we were told yesterday that many of these people will not have power probably for a month or more.
Wow.
And so, to get back in these communities, just the power poles are snapped in two. They're laying on the ground. The lines are, the bridges and roads again are gone. It's just going to take months and months, maybe even years, to get these places back online again and operating again.
Well, that's one of the questions I was going to ask you because, I'm in Texas and, from a distance, you think, well, they're taking care of everything over there and gosh, a week and a half has gone by now, so surely power is being restored and these people are going to be okay. But the sense that I get from talking to you and some others that I've talked to is that this isn't going to be a quick fix at all. They're probably weeks, months out from having power restored, having water. Realistically, what is the picture there for the future for rebuilding these communities and helping these people to get their feet back on the ground in terms of time?
Yeah, that is the important thing, because you may see places like Asheville, the big areas that are getting their power back on because they're a little bit more easily accessible. These other areas that, again, I was talking to folks, they were told that it's going to be weeks before we get any power back to where we are, maybe even a month, maybe 2 months.
Wow.
Before they get to us.
Wow.
And that's the stark reality. And so now it's getting cold in the mountains.
Yeah, right.
And so the needs are beginning to change. And so at Temple Baptist, they said we need portable propane heaters for homes.
Wow.
And things like that.
Sure.
So we just picked up 8 this morning, and now we need to find out where to get the propane tanks at.
Yeah.
We're still buying generators. I'm at Harbor Freight right now trying to pick up 8 more generators.
My goodness.
And so that's the water is getting in, the food is getting in now. And I've got to be honest with you, the people who are getting the job done are the guys with the pickup trucks.
Is that right? Yeah. Well, yeah, they can get up into those remote places, I suppose.
Yeah, you can't get semi-trucks back in these areas. Yeah. And so you get them back there, and in fact, Temple Baptist Church has horses that they're taking it back and, backpacking the stuff back in there, just like the old time.
Yeah.
And so that's the need.
Okay. Well, what's the immediate plans for you guys? I mean, you're obviously at Harbor Freight right now as we speak, picking up generators and supplies. So I'm supposing you're going to be heading out on another trip quite soon. So what's in your future? I know you're busy as a pastor. I know there's Raceway Ministry work taking place in Charlotte this coming weekend. So what's on the horizon immediately for you in terms of these trips to continue to help people?
Yeah, so we got back from a trip yesterday. So again, today is another purchase and pack day. Bible study at church tonight, and then we head to Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Roval this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then we're right back into deploy and deliver next week.
Okay.
And so, again, this is going to be taking us some weeks ahead. It's not something where this is over with already.
Yeah.
In some ways, we're just getting started with some of this stuff.
Well, I think that's important for our people to hear, because on the news media, for example, you continue to see little blips on the news about the way things are going in western North Carolina and so forth. But obviously, wherever the news is, it's where the attention goes. And so now the attention is on Florida and Milton, and who knows what it'll be next week. But the fear is that the needs of the people in the mountains there in western North Carolina may be forgotten and overlooked before too much time passes along. So it's very important for our people to understand that this is going to be an ongoing need. So Greg will probably be back in touch with you to get updates in a few days, just to find out again, what's looming in the future as far as relief work on your part. But one of the most important things that I think we need to understand right now is who is supporting this effort to provide relief. I mean, you're purchasing propane heaters, generators, other supplies. What are the resources for you, and how can people donate and support? From a distance, it's easy to look over there and see the need, but some of us, like here in Texas, how can a guy like me help finance that and help fund some of the work that you're doing?
Yeah, what has really been neat about that is folks have been contacting us with our post and whatnot, saying, I would love to be able to go, but can't. I've got a job, I've got responsibilities.
Yeah, sure.
And but you guys are the boots on the ground, and so how do we get you there?
Yeah.
And so the easiest thing and the most effective tool that people are using right now are just going to our website at autoracingOutreach.com and hitting the donate button.
Okay.
And so people are paying through that. We've had a lot of donations come in through that, and that's the easiest way.
Okay.
If they want to send a check to autoracingOutreach.com or Autoracing Outreach, the address is there as well. They can go and do it the old-fashioned way too.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Everything that is coming in is not going to administrative cost. It's not going to salaries. 100% is going right back into where the need is out on out where
Sure.
the places are.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Good information. And so, Greg, we just want you to know how much we appreciate you and the depth of compassion that you have for people. I know God's put that on your heart. So, our prayers are with you and all the other partners that you have that are traveling up there with you to make those deliveries. And I just want to encourage our listeners to get on the Auto Racing Outreach website, autoracingOutreach.com, and go to that donate button. And please know that everything that you contribute is going to go directly to the relief effort and to nothing else. If you want to keep up with the latest, even pictures, you can go to the Auto Racing Outreach Facebook page. And I know I think it was today, there's something like 30 pictures that are posted there of Greg and his team going up into the mountains there. Some of the damage and some of the people that are being affected by this are in the pictures. And we certainly don't mean to invade their privacy or or to use their suffering as a way to promote what we or anybody are doing. But we certainly want you to be able to see that the needs are being met through people like Greg Berkey and Auto Racing Outreach. So make sure that you go to that website and make a donation. Go to the Facebook page. Keep up with what Greg has going on in terms of hurricane relief. Greg, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for who you are. And thank you for taking a little bit of time today to update us on what's going on in Western North Carolina.
We appreciate it so much, Roger. We love you guys. And you know, this is what really a continuation of what Raceway Ministries does.
Yeah.
Raceway Ministries has always been boots on the ground, front lines ministry. And so this is just a continuation of what we do.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And where our people's hearts are. And so thank you so much, Roger.
Greg, again, thank you for what you do there in Community Baptist Church there in Claremont. Thank you so much for your involvement in Raceway Ministries. Thank you for what you're doing with the disaster relief. And folks, if you would, please go to that website, autoracingoutreach.com. Make a contribution there. Keep in touch with Greg through Auto Racing Outreach on Facebook, and keep yourself informed about what's going on. This is just beginning. It's not going to end anytime soon, and we need to do everything we can to get behind it. This is Roger Marsh with Raceway Ministries Today, and we've been talking with Greg Berkey. Greg is the Director of Auto Racing Outreach and currently involved in hurricane relief in Western North Carolina. So until our next podcast, we certainly want to encourage you to continue to trust Jesus as you go through the road course of life, and we'll look forward to next time. We hope you'll tune in next time as we continue to explore Christian ministry and outreach in motorsports through the National Fellowship of Raceway Ministries. If you'd like to learn more about the National Fellowship of Raceway Ministries, visit our website at racewayministries.org. Follow us on Facebook under the name Raceway Ministries. Check out our podcast and videos found on our National Fellowship of Raceway Ministries YouTube channel. Meanwhile, thanks for joining us for this presentation of Raceway Ministries Today.